I need it today. It is Tim Hortons, but it's not from a store. It's a K-cup. I know. But it's better than nothing. To be honest, I like Starbucks better, but I'm trying not to buy American brands. I know Tim Hortons is owned by an American company, but you know what I mean. Trying hard. Every little bit counts. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Patchwork Beauty, what a lovely name. Good morning. Welcome in. So feel free to ask your questions and share your shows and all that fun stuff. Tell us about what's going on in your life, what's it like where you are, where you live. Tell us where you're from and what you sell. All that kind of stuff. It's all free. I like McDonald's coffee. Our restaurant does a good job of it. Ooh, I have never liked McDonald's coffee even when they switched, to be honest. I don't mind their lattes, but I tend to avoid it. I don't know. Maybe it's just it doesn't go with my Big Mac. You always have to have like a root beer or something with your big or Coke. I don't know. A traditionalist or just stuck in my ways. Megahertz, good morning. Vintage Avenue North. Loki is playing with the toy, but it's not Humpty Trumpty because I think Humpty Trumpty got taken away somewhere by the other dog. But they've been playing nonstop today. I don't know. It's freezing outside. We had frost this morning. Does that mean that the ticks are all dead? No. So I spent my morning pulling ticks out of them and killing ticks, which is a fun way to start your morning. I did also shower, which is why I look the way I do. But needs must. So feel free to ask your questions and share your shows. I'm hopefully Frost in Your Ears will love the weather like this, though ticks. I like to be able to like go out in the morning with my bare feet and go put my feet in the grass, but when it's frozen grass, I'm not interested in sticking my bare feet in the grass. PJ Princess, good morning. How are you? So I still am totally under the weather, but I'm trying to push through. I was going to do a show today, but I can't. I just know I'm not going to be able to do the shipping. I've got a ton to do because I need to move a bunch of stuff out of my booth at the antique market and switch it up. So I have a whole bunch of new display units that I'm bringing in, and I need to make room for them first and then move them in, and got to do that before 10 a.m. tomorrow because that's when I'm supposed to bring the U-Haul back. Which, by the way, if you ever buy a whole bunch of stuff and you don't want to rent a storage unit and then have to go back and get it, if you like rent a U-Haul and just rent the U-Haul for a week. FYI. If you don't pay for if your credit card will cover the insurance, the collision insurance and that, then it's like the world's cheapest mobile storage unit you're ever going to see. Patchwork Beauty says, good morning, everyone. I'm Stacy from Southwest Missouri, and I love selling vintage. Yay! Hi, Patchwork Beauty. How long have you been on Whatnot? Hang on, let me check your profile. Titan the Great Dane says, I love having my feet in beach sand. Yes, me too. Although those little, and good morning, Forget Me Not Vintage, and good morning, Just a Doll. 1K sold already, 166 reviews, 5.0 rating, less than a day's shipping. Patchwork Beauty. I love it. Look at you. Go. Woo. Good morning, Nafaja. Mike, how are you feeling, my love? Sending you lots of love. Good morning, good morning. It's early for you. Well, I've been up since 4 a.m., and not counting the number of times I went to the bathroom. Mayher says, not sure if you're into movies, but if you are, I'm watching a new movie called Maintenance Required. Ooh. I am into historical dramas and British crime dramas. That's my thing. You've been up a while? I've been up since 4 a.m. But, oi, can you not? Whatever it is you guys are doing. I love this dog, but at the same time, thank you, Megahertz. I mean, there's a new Downton Abbey movie that's out. I don't know. I don't know. Clearly I'm not paying attention enough. My Instagram is not feeding me Downton Abbey information anymore like it used to. I used to get Downton Abbey everything, but I guess it realized that what I want is to learn about all the horrible things that are going on in the United States instead. So so I need to like search for Downton Abbey a few times or British crime dramas a few times because I mean that's the thing about the internet, right? Social media feeds you what it thinks you're going to like. And so if you start that's why like if you search for chicken costumes, which I've done, you then suddenly get a whole bunch of reels of other people in chicken costumes. Good morning, Absolute Flipping Deals. Good morning, Mimics. And how is everyone doing? Oh my gosh. So, J Man, good morning. So, I do not, I don't recommend Googling chicken costumes. Although there was a guy in a chicken costume um, who was I love, can I just say that if I had to move anywhere in the United States, I think I would move to Portland now because I too want to join protests wearing inflatable costumes. That sounds like so much fun. I have inflatable costumes and I am willing to put them on. The Fodger says, my clinical trial is going well. No more pain. I'm so happy. Yay. Vintage Avenue North. Hello. Briel, good morning. Mimics, you're sick again? Oh, that sucks. Stop being sick. Just stop. Just like, just magically stop. And then once you figure out how to do that, tell me how to do that. Because I was actually thinking this morning as I was going into the shower, realizing I was going to have to lean on things and hold on to things because I would feel like I was falling over. I was like, I can't remember the last time I felt super well. It's been over 10 years. It's crazy. Just Doll says, we have a guy in Whitby who walks his dachshund in an inflatable disc dinosaur costume. Yes, I know. I have my friend, one of my friends from my university days and afterwards, she during the pandemic, she got an inflatable costume. Oh, he walks around he walks his dachshund in a dachshund costume. Okay, that's hilarious. She walked around in a dinosaur costume in her neighborhood when you were finally allowed to at least walk outside and everything. She went around dancing in her dinosaur costume to say hi to her neighbors, and I feel like that's why we're friends. Because yeah, I think we need to do some more raid trains where we just do silly things. We should have like a silliness raid train where like the object is to just be as silly as possible. Like have some sort of goofy contest. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't even know what we call it. But if anyone's into it sounds like people are into it. Like wouldn't it be just fun? Cuz like to be honest, the other raid trains, I want to join a raid train group and go from cellar to cellar. Titan the Great Dane. It is so much fun when it's like a theme like that, where each person has to like sing a song or like a karaoke one, or they have to do something silly or dress up costumes. My friend Afternoon Antique Co. and the Gumby Man did a series where everybody was wearing wigs. It was the Wiggin' Out raid train. I do have an award from that, I have to say. So Titan the Great Dane, a goofy gander raid train. I love that name. That is a brilliant name. So Titan the Great Dane says, how quickly do you stay at a cellar before moving to another cellar and train? So the way it works, Titan, is that it depends on the raid train. Some raid trains are like every 10 minutes, you automatically, you start in one show, and automatically you will get raided into the next show. So when I end my show, I'm going to raid into another cellar, and all of you who are still watching me will come with me into that next show. So we call that a raid. It's not a bad thing. When I first joined Whatnot, yeah, just like on Twitch, they copied Twitch. So when I first joined Whatnot, in my head, a raid was like from the games that I played, where you would go and you would raid another kingdom. And so I was like, I don't want to go raid a cellar. I don't want to like do that. Like, what does that mean? What do you do? And I freaked out, and I like shut off the app before. I don't even know who it was. It was probably like Thrifting with ADHD or Allie, or something like, or I'll always love vintage, like the sweetest persons in the world. And I was like, I am not going to raid into them. I freaked out. So as a viewer, I left the app worried, and then came back and watched another show. But I thought that we were doing something bad. I didn't know what a raid was. And I don't think that Whatnot explains it to new viewers very well. And so, like, the name raid doesn't sound good, right? It sounds like an attack. But it's literally a blessing. You're blessing, then, because if you're not in a raid train and you end your show and you pick somebody else, you could pick from thousands of people, right? So if you get rated by somebody, consider that a great honor, because they could have gone anywhere else. There's tons of shows on Whatnot, and they picked you. So I wish I was there when you did that. It was, I freaked out. I totally freaked out. It was like my first time on the app, and I was like, um, Titan the Great Dane says, we usually stayed with a streamer on Twitch for only like 2 to 3 minutes. Those are really quick. Yeah, so there are raid trains, like there are TCG raid trains on Whatnot, where every 10 minutes or every 5 minutes, they're going from one seller to another, and they're basically like giveaway raid trains. I was on the B42 Creator Raiders back in the day. Oh my gosh, that sounds extremely interesting. The Great Dane. I don't know what it means, but it sounds really interesting. It sounds wild. So it's basically everyone signs up for a schedule, and if you want to be on a raid train as a seller, you just sign up on the schedule, and then you start your show a couple minutes before your time. Why a couple of minutes before? Because stuff always happens. Something always goes wrong. So you need to give yourself a few extra minutes. You rated 15 to 20 streamers in 1 hour. That is so cool. So that's kind of like you would gather viewers and then go raid somebody, and then regather viewers and go raid somebody else, as opposed to one to the next to the next to the next, which is kind of interesting. Is that's what happens? I don't Twitch. I twitch, like my face twitches sometimes, but I don't twitch. I have a Twitch account. Um but that there are a couple of big TCG sellers in the States who will do manual raids, which is where they'll say, we use Discord to coordinate the raids. That's really cool. They'll do manual raids, and they will stay on live, and they will tag the person that all of the viewers are supposed to go into. The only thing is that you would go in and you would, like, tip or follow or whatever, and then you would come right back to that seller. And I think that's nice. Yeah, a walkover raid where, I would say at Mimics55, everyone click on that and go over to that person's profile and join the show that they have going on right now, right? You use voice chat too in Discord. That's pretty cool. So you would say, okay, everybody, like, this is where we're going next. And it would be like a surprise for that person while they're in the middle of like some big game where they're killing imaginary people or conquering imaginary worlds. That's kind of cool. Absolute Flipping Deal says, I would like it if Whatnot would let us make our own decision if we want to buy from a U.S. seller. Okay, so Absolute Flipping Deals, you're not blocked from buying from U.S. sellers right now because of tariffs. You're blocked from buying from U.S. sellers right now because USPS can't deliver to you. That's why you're blocked, because of the Canada Post strike. So the only way around that is an address in the States. As soon as the strike is over, you'll be back to being able to pay whatever tariffs you want. If you want to pay the tariffs, taxes, and duties, you can. So yeah, so the only way around that is to have a different address. And Stamp Picker says, huge news, the stamp category is back. Yes! Oh my gosh. So where is it? Is it like on its own? I want to see. I'm so excited. Good morning, Queen B. How are you? let me see. That reminds me, there was a girl that I was friends with in junior high and partially through high school who was named Queenie. I'm excited. Let me see. Let's go to home. Let's go to browse. Let's look at the categories. Oh, God, Loki. Sorry, everybody. Loki just pulled you. Loki just pulled you all down because he was trying to get at some. I don't want that right now. Can you go? Oh, it's because he brought in a big ball to play with. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, Crystal Moving. Soul is 42nd place. Good morning, KJ Custom Creations. Good morning. Actually have shows scheduled in the category. That's so exciting. You took a trip and didn't leave the house. Sorry. He even knocked you down so that this little I don't know. This isn't for you. This isn't food. Why do you assume everything I hold in my hand is food? Gold is over $4,000 an ounce. Holy cow. I guess, my husband's like, we need to invest in gold. We should buy gold. And there's like some company that he heard about where they like buy the gold on your behalf and they keep it in vaults for you. But that just sounds sketch. Am I wrong? Is that not sketch? It sounds like no, I want to hold the gold in my hand. Oh, thank you, Quinn B. These ones I haven't worn in a while, too. I've been trying to use the ones that I haven't worn in a while. Loki broke one of my favorite glasses. So I have to figure out how I can fix it. KJ Custom Creation says, my fiance has said the same thing to buy gold, and he heard about that company. I said, don't. Yeah, I don't trust it. I don't know. There you go. Stamp Picker says you can do that directly through the Canadian Mint, so don't use third parties. That's what I was thinking. You should sell your gold while it's so high. I'd have to find my gold. I have so much of my mom's jewelry still to go through. Crossing the border on Tuesday was no problem, was easier than normal. We'll be using my U.S. address to buy from U.S. now. I'm glad you made it back. Welcome back, eh? Welcome back to the Great White North. Oh, thank you, Megahertz. You're so sweet. Hi, Prairie Knights. Sorry, I missed you earlier. Didn't get a chance to say it. Okay, let's see. Where is stamps now? If I type in stamps, is it on its own? Video games, pets, wholesale. Wholesale. Oh, that's pallets, right. Estate sales, books and movies. Oh, it's not getting it may have its own category, but it's not getting its own little card on here. That's rude. That's rude. It's under antiques. It's not a freaking antique. But I guess it's better than nothing, right? There's Stamp Pickers. Oh my gosh. Stamp Pickers, and then that's just, and Nana's Nifty Thrifting. Why is it showing? Oh, it's all products. I don't know why. It's Williamsburg Pottery Pitcher. Must have a stamp on it. Users. Okay, so Stamp Pickers, you have a really great name. When I type in stamp, there's only one person ahead of you, which is Stamp. Someone who used the username Stamp, and you are second on the users because you put that underscore. You are second on the users. So that underscore is really good for you. That is quite brilliant. A reason to use the underscore if you have if you're like vintage or antique or whatever you sell. That is pretty cool. Good morning, Ella. You have so many things stuck in the US. Yeah. You at least you have a spot to pull shows. I've only seen one Ontario plate at the Walmart. Border towns are suffering with no Canadians. Boo freaking who? I'm sorry. Especially Walmart. I have no sympathy for Walmart. Have a great day at work, KJ Custom Creations. Thanks for popping in. Let's see. Postage stamps. It's called postage stamps. Is the category postage stamps? Antiques and vintage decor, and then they called it postage stamps. As opposed to what? Stamps. Like, they wanted to make it so that people didn't think that they were buying, like, stamps for crafting? Were people getting confused? Look at that. Oh my gosh. Stamp pickers, I really love your stamp pickers image. Can can I show, hang on. I love this, hang on. I'm moving you. Switch. Look at that. Isn't that cool for pickers? I love it. It's like, it's a beaver stamp that you got made for yourself. I love it. That is so cute. All right. You said it should be stamps and postal history. Well, I guess that's better than them just putting philatelic, which is, I said the philatelic community needs to have the stamps back. I love the logo. I mean, keep your face. I love your face, but I like the logo too. I feel like your face is part of your branding. So, but then it's your business. So I will shut up. And so postage stamps. So you have to go to Antiques and Vintage Decor. And then they have, under Antiques and Vintage Decor, there's Vintage Decor, Antiques, Ephemera, and postage stamps. Interesting. Well, that's good news. That only took how many months to get it back? How many months of bugging? But I'm glad they brought it back. Under Antiques and Vintage Decor. A year. Holy cow. You know what? We're almost at a year that I've been doing nearly daily shows on Whatnot, chat shows. It's almost a full year. Because I started just before Halloween last year. So we are like another 2 weeks away from a full year of me. Time flies. I don't know, megahertz. This has been a long, I thought 2020 was a long year. 2025 has been an extremely long year. I saw a thing on Instagram that said, I refuse to put my put my clock back an hour on November 2nd because I do not want to endure another hour of this year. And I felt that in my core. Like, yes, I don't want to put my clocks back because that does mean an extra hour of this year. So it's been a year, right? Like, holy cow, America. And then holy cow, what America has caused, the ripple effects of America on Canada and us as sellers. Like, holy cow. And then you add on the fact that we've been dealing with this postal strike for a year, off and on. It's like, it just never ends. It just never ends. By the way, we Whatnot had that 4% instead of 8%. I think it's gone now. I haven't sold anything, so I haven't checked to see if we are still at 4% or if we're at 8%, but it was supposed to expire October 7th. So if anyone did a show yesterday and has instant payout and has done their shipping, can tell me what commission they got charged, that would be helpful. Just so that I know. What Liz likes? Good morning, hon. Look at that. I auto-modded you. I put you on the list. Oh, that reminds me. Pickles isn't on that list. Well, also, dear Whatnot, can we have like a lot more moderators? Because it just seems like I feel like there's people that I trust that I just want to make a big gigantic list. And so sometimes it'll just be all of us or moderators and we can just have a red chat. Mimics says it's like since 2019 we kept saying next year will be better, but it seems to keep going downhill. Is there a limit? So when you set up a show, megahertz, you get to pick up to five people to have as moderators, and then once you're in your show, I can just start booping on people's faces and making them moderator. It's just on an iPhone, it's 2 clicks, 3 clicks. So click on their face, click on allow to moderate, then confirm. On Android, it's click on their face, click allow to moderate, and you're done. I don't know why on that they have that they question you, because I mean, if you make a mistake, you could just unmoderate someone right away. Titan the Great Dane says, "Well, I'm waiting to do my first show after the strike is over. I'm working on my show in OBS. It feels good, like putting on a good pair of shoes. That's awesome. Yeah, OBS is not for everybody. If you're not technically inclined, then OBS is a challenge to learn. But it does make it. It can make for really fun shows, or just really, just add another level to it. I'm sure you do, Titan, if you twitch a lot. You know what I mean by that. Good morning, Shauna's Treasures and Art and Tippy Canoe. How are you? Oh, that rhymed. I didn't mean to rhyme, but it was fun to say anyways. Tippy Canoe, how are you doing? What Liz like says, yeah, OBS is not for me. Too many things to figure out. Yeah, I mean, when I first started and whatnot, I used OBS, and I didn't have the right graphics card, so it was really choppy, and I didn't have a good signal, and my camera kept like moving on me, and the sound kept going out. I had a lot of trouble, and I just I said, you know what? I don't need to be this fancy. So you can go that level, and there's nothing wrong with going that level. In fact, it is awesome if you're able to use OBS and all the cool features and the things you can add. It would be even more awesome if if any of you are TikTokers, you may know that there are like apps that can that can follow your chat. And so if you get like someone gives a gift or something, then it will do like some animation across the screen. It'll like all that kind of stuff. It's automatic. It would be awesome if we could have the same thing for Whatnot with OBS, where it would like watch the chat, and if you got rated, it would like put up some sort of like horn sound and something dancing across the screen, and that sort of thing. That would be awesome. I would love that. I also would love to set up my OBS so that I can do my trivia shows a lot easier, because then I can do fun stuff with automation, right? I could just press the letter A for this and that, because literally when I don't know if I have it here. Let's see. There it is, my instance. So I use my instance soundboard to oh, I have it muted, don't I? That's my favorite. Yeah, so I have like that on, it's called myinstance.com, and that's what I use for when I do my shows. Is I have when I do my trivia shows, I literally have like some other device playing the music, but it would be so much fun. Wired is the way to go. Yes. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up here. Titan the Great Dane says, I used to Twitch a lot. I like to try different things and try new technologies. I used to love that. Is OBS only working good on computers? Yeah. OBS, I would highly recommend, is only on a computer with a good graphics card. In fact, if you go to help.whatnot.com, Sandpickers, you can, there's a video where they explain a lot of the details, and they have more information about, like, you can read up on OBS's website about what the minimum requirements are. So when I bought myself a computer, I went with better than the minimum requirements, and I don't even know. I hope it's gonna work, because I didn't want to spend a fortune, but basically like a gaming computer will do it. Yeah, there's no specific iPhone software yet, as far as I know. You only need like a NVIDIA 1080 or newer, and you're good to go. I can't remember what I got. It's in the other room. It's pretty. It's a Dell thingy, and it's for gaming, and it had said that it was good for streaming, and it had the minimum requirements. High Eastender resales. OBS needs wired connection to your internet modem. Wi-Fi is too slow for it. Yeah, I do have. Titan says you can use 100-foot Ethernet cable from your router to your computer. That's what I have. And I haven't tested it downstairs to see how it would do, but that is my goal, is to have it downstairs, and I already have an Ethernet cable that's fished all the way to here. And I might actually put a booster on the Ethernet cable. That's what I'm thinking I might do, to boost it even more, because Mimic says the OBS setup video is much easier now. So they don't have a new app or any easy integration. Not yet. A 1080 is 8 years old. I don't want to think. Your desktop is 2017. I don't know what this one is. I can't even remember. Yes, Jespian, we will. La Mère Villius, we will raid her for sure. Yes. We will see her again. Your wish is my command. Okay, so does anyone have any questions? I haven't gone over the whole hang on. I should do the resource. I keep forgetting that I need to like do all these resources and stuff. Start auction. All right, so if you, I don't know why I did for 5 minutes. If you are a seller on Whatnot, I do have a lot of free resources that you may not be aware that are available. It's all free. You can use that QR code, or there's also, if you go to my profile, in my bio and my profile, there is the link that you can copy. It is case sensitive, but you can copy that and that will take you to the free resources as well. And I have like show planners and raid train planners, and I have I mean, I know it's September, no, it's October. Oh my god, I know it's October, honestly I do. Dementia setting in. I have like a calendar, and I'm gonna have to start working on the 2026 goal planner now because we're almost there. Holy cow. And yeah, there's all kinds of stuff available, as well as like stickers. If you are someone who likes to reuse boxes, there's stickers that you can print out that say, I'm, don't judge me by my box, I'm lovingly reused. And also, if you're someone who sells anything with that's breakable, or that has glazes or crystals or anything like that, glass and all that, then there's a thermal shock label that you can also use. There's one for winter, which is the season we're coming into now, as well as there's one for summer. There's a whole bunch of resources in there. So if you can go check that out whenever you want to. Question from Titan the Great Dane. What is the lowest shipping rate Whatnot will display, and do you know how many grams that rate is? Okay, so let's play that game. Let's play the game. Are you guys ready? We're going to do the test. Hang on, I got to make sure I'm muted. And then I need to sign into Whatnot. Go to my profile. Go to my profile. Go to shows. Please hold. Open show. Open show. Okay, so we're going to play. So this would be chit chats. So let's add an item. Oops, daisies. I didn't want to do that. Hang on. Add item. Create temporary listing. Just create a temporary listing. Don't nag me, Whatnot. All right, so we're going to call this comics and manga, pop culture memorabilia. Done. Product name, test run. Description about the product, testy, test. Starting price is a whole bunch of zeros. Condition, very good. Okay, so shipping profile. We're going to start with 0 to 1 ounces. Hang on. Confirm. All right, so we go now over to here. Now I have to find the damn thing. Oh, goodness gracious me. All right, product actions. Pin. Edit item. Why won't it let me? Oh, because this thing's still running. Hang on, please hold. We have 1 minute and 33 seconds, and then I will show you what it's all about. But I realize I can't pin it right now because we have something else that's running. But it's easier if I show it to you on the screen here. Okay. So I should be set to chit chats. So product actions, is it done yet? Almost 1 minute and 5 seconds. Don't anybody buy it. I have no idea if you bought this for $2,025. I have no idea what I would ship you. I have no idea. I would just go, I don't know. The Timmy's mug. Yes, for 2025. No, I'm not allowed to sell live pets. Not dogs and cats. And he's asleep right now, so shh. He's actually run himself out. Hey, Dave from Alberta. There is no reprimand. All right, we're just waiting for this clock to run out because I ran it for 5 freaking minutes because I'm an idiot. And then we're gonna pin because Titan the Great Dane was wondering what the prices are. So just note. Hang on, sorry, I have to adjust you in my fancy holder. Best I can do is make an offer. Make an offer. You can just call me Titan. I don't know, like Titan the Great Dane. It's like it's memorable, but I shall go to okay. All right, I can pin the item now. Okay, that's 0 to 1 ounces. What does that show for everybody? I'm going to edit the item. 0 to 1 ounces right now. Tell me what your price is for shipping. 6, 7, 16 to pickles. Oi, pickles. $13.95 plus tax. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to confirm, and then I'm going to unpin and then repin. Just okay. Now it is 1 to 3 ounces. How did it go up or down or the same? Same. 768. Is that the same? Yard Yeller, or did it go up for you? Yeah, 768. Okay, same. All right, let me go back in. We're going to edit item. We're going to go up to 4 to 7 ounces. We're going to hit confirm. We're going to unpin. And then we're going to pin again. Okay, I pinned again. Shauna, you just got egg. Same or different? Same. And if you just joined, we are testing what the shipping price is based on weight. So it is the same at 4 to 7. 4 to 7 ounces. So, all right, let me edit again. We're going to go up to 8 to 11. Confirm. I'm going to unpin and then pin. Okay, we're now at 8 to 11 ounces. 12, only $12.86 to you. That's pretty good because that's through UPS. That's going by UPS. Although, Liz, it would also be like $24 for US dollars for the customs fees, so it sucks. So are we still the same? It looks like we're the same. Okay, that's 8 to 11, and that's the same as 0 to 1. Now, note that we're only talking about the first item. We can't do we can't go and look at your second and third item in this particular test. We're only looking at the very first item and what people are going to see, right? So if your next item is at 8 to 11 ounces, it would immediately bump that box up to past a pound. And I think that's what you're going to see is that once we get past a pound, the price is going to jump. But it doesn't jump until you get past 16 ounces. So let's edit again. And we're just going to do every one of them. Hang on. We're going to go to 12 to 15 ounces, which is nearly a pound. Nearly headless. Confirm. Product actions. Unpin. Repin. Is it the same? I see a lot of browbeating and card shows if they go over 1 to 3 ounces. Yeah. This is with 13 by 13 by 13. But we have Yard Yeller. We've done this test before with 30 by 30 by 30, and the price doesn't change until you hit over 16 ounces. Same. So, okay. So we are at the same for the first item that somebody purchases. It is the same shipping price from 0 to 1 as it is to 12 to 15. All right, so we're going to go up one more to 1 pound and see if they're so Titan the Great Dane, Whatnot doesn't do, their shipping profiles are automatically set by ounces and pounds. But you can, later on when you're entering the information, you can type it in in kilograms or grams. It's just for this. You'll get used to it. You get used to ounces very quickly. The more you sell and whatnot, the more just, I mean, I'm old, so I was already used to pounds and ounces. All right, product actions, unpin, repin, boom. Okay, so we're now at 1 pound, 16 ounces on the dot. Has that price for shipping gone up or stayed the same? It is the same. Same price. Okay. Next, edit item. We're going up to 1 to 2 pounds. Now, 1 to 2 pounds means 16 to 32 ounces, right? So really what it's doing is 32 ounces. So once we hit 32 ounces, this is where I think you're going to see, because we're at 1 to 2 pounds, I think this is where you're going to have unpin, pin. Okay, now what are we at? If we set the custom shipping profile at 15 ounces max, any subsequent purchases would add in the incremental charges would kick in. Yes. So it is now more. Yeah. So now it went up. How did it go up? It just jumps a bit. So tenths up by $1 for Shop with Danny. Yard Yeller about $1.50-ish, up 30. Oh, only up 30 cents. So that's 1 to 2 pounds. So that's not bad, right? About $1.50 for stamp pickers. That's not too bad. So if you had to make the choice of, do I run things at 1 to 3 ounces? If the difference in price, Titan the Great Dane says it was a $4 jump for me. Yeah, it's totally different, depending on where you live. But isn't that fascinating? I find that I find it totally fascinating. It's just fascinating. And for anyone who's in the US that we're doing this, you're getting UPS rates. So we can tell that UPS is also the same. It does not change. So if you had to make the choice, if you're selling and it's like, you know what, I don't want to charge my buyers too much for shipping, so I'm going to go for a low, like the lowest amount I possibly can, you might actually just be ripping yourself off because if you go over you get 5 free shipping adjustments per week. If you're trying to scale up your business, you want to be able to avoid using shipping adjustments as much as possible so that you're not having that extra expense. So I say, is there a similar scale for sizes? We have done a test stamp pickers where we did the exact same thing as I just did, but we did it with a custom shipping profile of 30 by 30 by 30 box, and then adjusted the amount and the increments. And again, it did not jump. It stayed the same for a 30 by 30 by 30 box. It was the exact same price as this box, which is a 13 by 13 by 13 box. So dear Whatnot, I don't get why you keep us at a 13 by 13 by 13 box if the price is no different when we do a custom shipping profile. That doesn't seem fair. So if you agree, please message Whatnot and tell them that, because I have said it a cajillion times and it's not getting through. So like it took a year for the stamp category to come back, we all need to message them. Yeah. So if you want to do a custom shipping profile, because you are going to use a larger box. If you sell small things like you're in TCG, and so a 13 centimeter by 13 centimeter by 13 centimeter box, which for Americans in the room is like 4.5 inches. It's a small box. Yeah, so this jump went when we went from 16 ounces to 32 ounces, because 1 to 2 pounds is actually at 32 ounces is what it's charging the customer for, is a max of 32 ounces. So that's when the jump happens, but it's not a significant amount. It's not a significant amount of a jump for you to feel guilty about going up to a higher weight when you're entering your items. That's what I'm trying to get through to you guys. Okay? Yes, Dear Whatnot, change 13 by 13 by 13 to 30 by 30 by 30, which is what we had before. What we had before was a 12 by 12 by 12 inch, and 30 by 30 by 30 would be slightly smaller than 12 by 12 by 12, but I'll take it. So again, if you're entering items and you're thinking, I want to keep it at like 0 to 1 ounces to save my customers money, your first item, you're not saving your customers any money. If you put all of your stuff at 1 pound, yes, your customers would be paying more for every subsequent one. But if you're thinking this item weighs 6 ounces, and when I wrap it up, it's going to be 7 ounces, so I'll stay in 4 to 7 ounces to save my customers money. You're not saving them that much money. You should go to 8 to 11 ounces to save yourself money, by saving yourself from future shipping adjustments that may end up costing you, because if you go over your 5 free shipping adjustments, you pay for the difference. East Coast Vintage, hello, and Authentic Refines, and hello everyone else who's come in. I did a show and Whatnot stuck my sold items in a 13 by 13 box, like 8 pounds need to adjust. So East Coast Vintage, I don't use a custom shipping profile when I'm selling vintage stuff. I just go with Whatnot's profile. It tends to, if your weights are on the higher side, like 1 to 2 pounds, it tends to work out most of the time that you do not have to do a shipping profile. Gerard, oh hello Gerard, yes, bonjour. I love that name, East Coast Vintage. So yes, 13 by 13 by 13 centimeters is the default for Canadian shows. I don't use a custom shipping profile unless it's for something very precious that I want to go on its own, and I want to make sure that the buyer's paid shipping for that. Mimic says, thankfully gemstones are light. I know, you can put it in a teensy tiny envelope. The default can be changed by Whatnot, Vintage Avenue North. We need to bug Whatnot to go back to 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters. When I do these custom shipping profiles and I'm showing that it's the exact same price compared to Whatnot's boxes at 13 by 13 by 13, it makes no sense that they have us at 13 by 13 by 13, in my opinion. So it's just, yes, they're not actually, that's the default. You then go in and edit it. And my recommendation is, if you sell stuff that's over 13 centimeters in height, when you wrap it in any direction, is make sure you go up to a higher weight level than what you think it should be in. So if it's 8 to 11 ounces shipped weight, but it's a bigger item, then I would go to 12 to 15 or 1 to 2 pounds. I don't even use the 1 pound. I skip the 1 pound. It's 2 on the dot. There's not enough wiggle room. I always go up. For me, that's what I do, is I go up to a higher amount. Unless I'm doing a show where I know that like all of my customers are going to be buying in bulk and I'm not going to have to worry, because, if I put things at 4 to 7 ounces and you buy 10 of that, then I've got 70 ounces to work with. And so if most of the stuff is at 4 ounces, then I've got 30 extra ounces that have been paid for, which means that I've got that money to pay for the bigger box. So it's all a matter of just lifting your level up a bit. Oh, Sandpickers, yes. A Canada Post update. Hang on, let me just do this. Canada Post update. Pin item. Canada Post update from Stamp Pickers. Here we go. So the CUPW, which is the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, met with the minister yesterday, and we literally have no news. In this case, no news is not good news. Just an update. Yes, that I didn't expect that there was, the way that they wrote that announcement yesterday, Corey, it was clear that they knew when they were going in. It was a little bit like, the minister hasn't finally decides to meet with us, and it was a little bit like they knew that they weren't expecting anything good to come out of it, to be honest. That's the way it read to me, was like, and the fact that they didn't say anything this morning, I feel like they would have said something if it was good. Or maybe not. Maybe it was really good. Maybe it was like magical. I don't know, but I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think it was probably an attempt at what we call in politics, or used to, I guess it's not politically correct anymore, but we used to call it a come to Jesus moment. in politics where you would meet with someone and like basically like this is the way it's going to be and you're not going to like it and tough poops. Those come to Jesus meetings that we'd have to do with candidates and organizations and oh my gosh. I don't miss that at all. Vintage Avenue North says, "Is anyone you know using Flagship?" You know what? I haven't found Flagship. Does never get a phone number. We've created a simple guide, services, e-commerce, blah diddy blah. Proudly Canadian, shipped from Canada to the US. Okay, so on does it only do Canada to the US or is it also doing shipping services? More than a shipping service. Okay, so they are a reseller for UPS and FedEx. Um so Oh yeah, stamp pickers. I'll talk about that in a second. So Flagship does use UPS and FedEx. To be honest, Vintage Avenue North last time around, Freightcom.com, which is also ClickShip, and McCool had the better rates. But I suggest that you do your research and figure out which one is better for you if you're going to bring your own label. And I guess I will dig into that now. Stamp Pickers says, "Can I ask why Chit Chats is using Dragonfly for some parcels?" So they've always been doing that. Dragonfly and ICS, and there's a couple of others that they use. They it they've been doing that for a long time now, where it's not really Chit Chats. So they just subcontract to these other, and which are mostly gig workers, right? From what I understand. Sorry, we have Dragonfly here. That'd be great if we can do pickups. So yeah, no, you're not allowed. It would be awesome if that was the way. Ugh. I mean, I guess you could see. Like you could probably use like Sendle or something else to ship your packages, but you need that batch label, and that's the thing that I'm waiting for more information. One of our folks had trouble getting in the Eastern Canada office of Chit Chats refused to do a batch label yesterday. So, yeah, they subcontract. It's only to the US that it's through themselves. For most of like the rest of Canada, they subcontract, including to Canada Post. I've had nothing but good experiences receiving from Chit Chat and Dragonfly for last mile. Yeah, for last mile here, it is Dragonfly. I do find that they just toss the item. They just fling it. So if it's in a poly mailer, they fling it. So please make sure that it's packed right. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big deal. They tossed it. It was perfectly fine. It was in bubble wrap and it was just a shirt. But I always feel like, dude, like it's like three more steps. I get it. You're in a hurry because if I'm right and they're gig workers, stamp pickers, then they're getting paid by the package, right? They're not getting paid by the mile. They're getting or the minute. They're getting paid by the package. So they're just working. Yeah, they are gig workers. So it's a gig economy. It's not, I mean, I'm not a big fan of gig economy for reasons of quality of life for those individuals who work gig economy, but it is what it is. Okay, let's we'll talk Strike 2.0 now. Hang on. I gotta zoom in. Really fancy way. I'm literally moving. Let's zoom. There we go. Okay, oops, moving this out of the way. Your Dragonfly delivery guys have Dragonfly branded trucks. Okay, so that's good. Stamp the stuff gets there on time, but they do need to chill on using packages as a frisbee. They totally do. So welcome to Strike 2.0. I'm just going to go over this. So duration is currently unknown, and as Stamp Pickers said, yesterday the union met with the federal minister for responsible for Canada Post and Labor, or just for responsible for labor. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyways, Lightfoot, I think is his name, or Light. I don't know. Anyways, not Gordon Lightfoot. They didn't meet with Gordon Lightfoot, that's for sure. Hang on. I need to put my face on here. I feel weird not having face cam on. All right, let me move you guys down here. There we go. And at least I feel better when my face is there, so I feel like I'm talking to you, even though I'm way down here. So the duration is unknown. Reminder, last time it was 32 days. The time before that, it was 26 days. So, we can pray to the strike gods or whatever for this to be quick and over with and painless, but it doesn't look like it's going to be over with quickly. The union wants to go to binding arbitration and has been asking for forking months to go to binding arbitration. The government needs to do that, but the government just announced sweeping changes to all of Canada Post structure, so it is it is like they're I just can't see how binding arbitration is going to happen when the arbiter is going to know that the government has these plans which go totally against everything that the union wants. So I don't know. Binding arbitration is going to have to be with all three parties, maybe the government has to be involved in the binding arbitration. That would be interesting because they're kind of like a third party in this. Good morning, Kay. Mind your ink. How are you? When asking for binding arbitration, it's like, yeah, I mean, but they are like, this has been going on for so long that really binding arbitration is the only way to resolve this permanently. So they're right to ask for it, and they know though that Canada Post is going to try and avoid it as much as possible. So if you are a Canadian seller and you haven't done a show since this whole strike started, you need to go back to your email. It was a couple of weeks ago when the day after the strike started. There's an email from Whatnot that explains all about how to bring your own label. You can also go and or to switch to Chit Chats. I'm just going to do a brief overview. I'm not going to do every step-by-step instruction for you because you're all adults and you can read. So you go to help.whatnot.com. Okay, help.whatnot.com, and then you are going to search for Canada Post, and that's going to bring you up the Canada Post FAQ, and that will have all the information and all the instructions and links to all kinds of information. So read it again. Stampicker says Cup W is hooped. CPC can sell off Purolator for tens of billions and float Canada Post for years. Most don't get it. I mean, I hope that they don't sell Purolator, but at the same time, that would be interesting. That would actually be sell Purolator and then use that money to float. I know it is a lot of drama. So much drama. This is 2025K. It's like this. I swear, every once in a while I read the news and I go, are we being punked? Am I in like a dream? Like, for those of you who are old enough to remember when JR got shot on Dallas, and then there was like a whole season after he got shot on Dallas where there was this whole timeline and all these things happened and everything, and then like at the end of that season, who shot JR? And then spoiler alert for those who are watching an old Dallas shows and don't realize this, close your ears, because at the freaking end, she wakes up and Bobby's in the shower and he's alive and JR's alive, and it was all just a forking dream. The entire forking season was just a dream, and JR didn't actually get shot and wasn't dead, and Bobby didn't end up getting killed too. It was all just a dream. Okay? So this is what it feels. I feel like we're being punked, and that I'm going to wake up in 2026 and it's just Bobby will be in the shower and everything will be okay. Okay, this is what I need. I need to wake up one morning and Bobby is in the shower and the entire season we've just gone through is just a dream. Okay, I digress. There you go. I've got the system. This is just what it feels like. It feels like that season. And then I'm just waiting to wake up and Bobby's in the shower. Okay, so not everything Canadian's going downhill. We've got a lot of awesome things happening in Canada. It just feels like we're being attacked. That's when the dream scenarios started on other TV shows. I know, Crystal, I got so mad. I was young. I was so mad. Very much like when my daughter was mad when a character that she really loves got killed during a movie. Like, I was so angry at them for doing that to us. So angry that I refused to watch any TV shows for like a long time because I was like, no, I cannot trust these writers. They could just be lying to me. I lost that's the day I lost trust in humanity, was that episode, which was on a Friday night, by the way. Friday night, because then you had to remember what really I know, Crystal, I know, it was so annoying. The plot armor this thick with Okay, so during a strike, you can keep selling on Whatnot. A postal strike has complications, but we can still sell. So there's multiple options for Whatnot sellers. First and foremost, as a Canadian Whatnot seller, first and foremost, you can use Chit Chats. Secondly, you can use Bring Your Own Label. So let's talk first about Chit Chats. So Chit Chats, for those who are from the States, Chit Chats is an option for us already on Whatnot as Canadian sellers. It's an alternative courier company, and they're mostly in suburban areas. So if you are a Canadian seller and you are thinking, I'd like to use Chit Chats, first and foremost, you need to figure out whether you can get packages to a Chit Chats location. If you don't have a Chit Chats near you, you can still use their Smart Drop system, which currently isn't very smart for Whatnot sellers. It's more complicated and manual. But if you have a Purolator drop-off near you, so you go to Purolator.com and look for a drop-off location, you can drop off your packages at Purolator and have them shipped to, and you have to pay money for this, but shipped to the closest Chit Chats hub to you. To the hub, not a branch, a hub. Now, you could also do this with other couriers companies if you wanted to, but the preference from Chit Chats is to use Purolator. The challenge is that you need to get a batch label from Chit Chats. So you need to, if you want to ship, if you don't want to drive to a Chit Chats location and you'd rather ship to their hub instead, you would take all of your packages and you would put them into one big box or two big boxes. And then you would need to get a batch label from Chit Chats. The only way to do that right now, because Whatnot is not connected to Chit Chats in that way, is that you would have to create a Chit Chats account, and then you need to contact a local Chit Chats branch and ask them if that person who's on staff that day will manually create you a batch label. Then you get their email address and you email them the email that you signed up on Chit Chats, because you're going to have to go back into Chit Chats later. And then you're going to have to give them all of the tracking numbers for all of the Chit Chats labels that you have in that box. So you give them all the tracking numbers and your email address, and then you wait. And then when they've created a batch label manually for you, you can go back into chitchats.com and you can actually print out a batch label, create and print out a batch label. And then if you want to, you can buy a Purolator label directly from them. Now, some people have said that they got a better deal by going to freightcom.com or one of those companies to buy a Purolator label. They got a cheaper Purolator label there than they did through chitchats.com. So again, there are multiple steps to be taken here. It's not so simple. Vintage Avenue North says very manual. Is that the only way for smart drop off? At this time, yes. They do ask you to use batch labels to do it, because then when it gets to the hub, and it has to go to a hub, not to a branch. When it gets to the hub, then they scan that, and then all of your packages inside that box are automatically registered as being at the Chit Chats location. So it's like it's much more convenient for them. Now, some people used to just ship in one big box, and you could always try that. But my only concern with that is that we've had some people whose entire batch shipment without a batch label has gotten lost, where they say, oh, it didn't arrive at Chit Chats at all. So just be cautious, okay? And they do ideally want you to use a batch label. I am trying to get more information about the batch label situation because, for example, someone in on the East Coast contacted their Chit Chats location, which is Bedford Bay, in Nova Scotia, don't you know? And that guy, whoever you are, you said no. Abbotsford, BC did not say no. Bedford Bay said no. That he refused to do it and said he's not allowed to at all, and that you have to do it through Whatnot and Tough Beans, which is not exactly the best customer service, by the way, buddy, especially since other people do it. Yeah, they didn't want to scan each package. Crystal Movie says someone stuck it behind a desk because he didn't want to scan it, or just it just got put to one side because it was clear that it had a whole bunch of packages in it, and probably just got put to one side instead of, I would put a big thing on it that says "Open me." I've got a bunch of packages inside, and open me now. Please scan what's inside. This is a batch shipment, but. And I would make sure that I use a courier that, ideally, use a courier that's going to take a picture or prove that somebody signed for it, so that you can say it did arrive in your facility and I've got proof. Sorry, Chit Chats. That's been an issue, and I don't like the fact that that's been an issue. That's not cool. Okay, so Chit Chats is working on a way for Whatnot sellers to just go onto their website and create a batch label themselves, but they don't have that set up yet. It's in the process. Matthew, who's the head of partnerships with Whatnot, partnerships with Chit Chats, has said that they're working on it, but he hasn't created it yet. He came onto our Facebook group and was like very enthusiastic about use Smart Drop, but then it's like, we can't because of the way you've got it set up. So he is trying to work on that because he knows that this is an opportunity. If he can get Whatnot sellers to get used to using Chit Chats during this strike, then they are more likely to stick with Chit Chats after Canada Post is back in operation. It is in their best interest to do this now for us. But in the meantime, it is more a manual process. Creates Card says, I like the Dragonfly option. If there's one local to you, you can drop Chit Chats off there. It's much more secure and they scan it right in front of you. Yes. My Chit Chats location doesn't scan. My Dragonfly drop-off location doesn't scan unless I have high value items and I demand it. But I've only had 2 packages go AWOL, which is way more packages going AWOL than I had with Canada Post, by the way. But I have had packages go AWOL. Chit Chats just told you to dump all your packages into a box and then ship them. Kitchener seems nice. I think it just depends on the location. That's the thing. Also with branches too. Some branches have really friendly staff that are willing to help you out, and then other branches are like Tough Beans. And I feel like maybe the Halifax / Bedford Bay location is just so slammed that they just don't want to do it. So I have suggested to Matthew, I've said, my suggestion would be have one point of contact for all of us, and that person can help us do it. So like, instead of it being who's ever on duty that in that particular location, if we could have one point of contact where we message a support person or something who does it for us, that would be ideal. So I have asked for that. I think that would make it simpler. If we all knew that all you need to do was go to like the whatnot@chitchats.com, email whatnot@chitchats.com and give them the information and they'll create a batch label for you, that would be awesome. So that's my request. That's my hope. I think that'll make life a lot easier. Mimic says the downtown one is just walk in, toss the packages in the box and bin and walk out. Yeah, and like the thing that worries me about that is that like when I have stuff that's breakable and I see people, I put my box in one of those bins and then I see people walk in and literally toss their heavy thing into the bin on top of my stuff. I'm like, I knew. I knew. I saw that in Oshawa and I was like, no. I took my boxes out and I handed them to the girl and I said, these are fragile and I am not putting them in that bin. And she was pretty cool. I liked her. She was pretty cool. So they do also have a new program with Trexity. If you live in an urban area, you can pay to have Trexity take your shipments and deliver them to a local Chit Chats branch or hub. I can't remember. Anyways, you can look that up too if you go to chitchats.com and search for Trexity. It's another courier company, but they are only in urban areas. Stamp Pickers, hang on. Oh, why it's showing me. Stamp Picker says, after chatting with Richmond several times, they don't need or want batch labels. They are backed up, scanning everything, but might take an extra day. Interesting. Okay. So Richmond is okay with just put it all in one big box and send it. The key thing is, folks, is you have to send it to the hub. Don't send it to a branch. You have to send it to a hub. So if you want to batch ship to Chit Chats and use Chit Chats, make sure you send it to the hub. So for example, for me, if I want to do a batch shipment, I'm shipping it to their Burlington location in Ontario because that's the hub for Ontario. I would not be sending it to the Peterborough location, which is just a Dragonfly. So bring your own label is the next on the list. So if you can't use Chit Chats and you can't do the batch shipping to and as Stamp Picker says, the Richmond location is saying they don't want batch labels, so you can skip that process. I would recommend that you contact your local hub, whatever is your closest hub, and ask them if they want batch labels or not. And if they say they don't care, then that's a step we can skip, right? You could just use whatever courier company you want, find the cheapest one, and ship your stuff to the Chit Chats hub that way. Stamp Picker says Vintiquity, Van Isle, and a bunch of us have had a few issues so far, just slow scanning. So they're backed up because they're overwhelmed by the obviously a lot of people have redirected their shipments through Chit Chats because they have very few alternatives. Okay. So if you can't use Chit Chats and ship to a Chit Chats location, you can use bring your own label instead. Now, it is going to cost you money. And if you don't have instant payout yet, which means you haven't sold 1,000 things or more, then you are going to have to wait 7 days before you get your items. And I'll talk about that in a second. So bring your own label is only available for UPS or FedEx. So make sure that you find a shipping company. You do not have to buy direct from UPS.com or FedEx.com for the bring your own label. You just need to have a UPS or FedEx label. So like Flagship, Freightcom. Excuse me. Why are we barking? Son of a nutcracker. Oi! Come. Yeah. Come here. Come here. Use freightcom.com or mccool.com or flagship.com. ClickShip is also the same as Freightcom, and use them. Now, Whatnot's only going to credit you for the amount your buyer paid them for shipping. Any difference in cost is at your expense. Sorry. So in some cases, it's going to be pretty close to the same amount that the buyer paid Whatnot for shipping because it's Canada Post rates. But because UPS is pretty competitive these days. However, in some locations where your customer is a little bit, excuse me, I'm talking. Nope, come. I don't care what the neighbor dogs say. Ugh. So in some cases, it's the neighbor dogs bark, then they bark, but the neighbor dogs could be barking at anything that's anywhere on the street because the neighbor dogs bark at everything, and now they bark. Lord Jesus. I need to live in the middle of BF nowhere with no neighbors around so the dogs don't set each other off. because the next door neighbor's dogs, they bark a lot. Bless their socks, but they bark a lot and they're not stopped by their owners. I try to stop my dogs from barking too much. I understand they have to bark, they're dogs, that's how they speak, but still. Anyways, any difference in cost is your expense. So sometimes you're going to have a buyer who lives in like a remote part of, or not so remote, but relatively for the courier system is off the beaten track. I'll call it that. Off the beaten track, not necessarily rural or remote, but off the beaten track. So like, for example, there's parts of Vancouver Island that cost twice as much as other parts to ship to than other parts of Vancouver Island. It's cashews. So any difference in cost is your expense. My recommendation is that you add a couple of dollars to your start bids. If you sell, say, 20 items in a show and you've added $1 on, then that's $20 extra you can use to offset your shipping costs. But it is a cost of doing business. So it is a business expense, which means it is a write-off. But yes, you will have less profits. But it is what it is. Okay, so once you've bought your tracking number from whatever website you want to buy it from, and again, shop around to get the best deal. Then you want to go to seller.whatnot.com, sign in on a browser, and you're going to go to shipments, and you're going to go to each one of those shipments, and you're going to enter the tracking code, and then you're going to select either UPS or FedEx. Once you save that information, Whatnot starts the clock. In 7 days after you have said yes, entered your tracking numbers, you will get a payout. Now, let me just zoom in here for a second. Sorry. Come on. Thing. As you can see, you will have 2 line items on your ledger 7 days after you've entered the tracking number, unless you have instant payout. And I see some questions and I will try to answer right afterwards. So you will have 2 line items on your ledger. One is going to be the earnings for the item you sold, and the other one is going to be called shipping subsidy or something like that, and that's for the amount that the buyer paid Whatnot for shipping. Okay, wait. Why isn't it zooming out? Hang on. Zoom back out again. All right, there we go. That's better. Okay, so if you have a U.S. buyer, their packages are automatically going to go through Whatnot. You do not need to bring your own label. They're automatically going to go by UPS, just as they did before the strike. Everything that goes to the States goes by UPS. So that doesn't change. You will still need to drop off or arrange pickup for your packages with UPS if you have any American buyers. So your American buyers can still buy from you just as they did before the strike, which is all because of an executive order with a Sharpie. Anyways, okay, so P.O. boxes won't work. So right now, if someone comes into your show and they say, I can't buy from you, it says not shippable to me. Why does it say that? The answer is probably if they are Canadian or American and they have a P.O. box, it won't allow you to bid or purchase because we can't ship to P.O. boxes right now because we have to use couriers instead, and couriers don't have access to most post office boxes because it's Canada Post. So you will need to, if you're a buyer, you need to switch to a physical address. If you are a seller and you encounter one of these, you are going to have to contact your, well, no, because Whatnot is blocking it. So you shouldn't have to contact your buyer because it should be blocked. But if a buyer has put in something that's slightly different, that still is a box number, they, instead of putting P.O. box, they just put number 90, like I've done that, or I've put number 93 instead of P.O. box 93 because I want to try and work around the system that's blocking me because of a P.O. box from doing something online. If they've done that and you can't create a label for them, then you're going to have to message your buyer and message Whatnot support and ask them to change to update their address. And you're going to have to let Whatnot support know that you need an address from your buyer in order to be able to ship to them, so that they know that the reason that you're delayed on that one package is because you don't have a physical address. If you're using a P.O. box for safety reasons, then my suggestion is don't switch to your home address because safety is important. Find a neighbor or a friend or somebody you work with or at your work. Find an address that's safer for you, where you can have it dropped off. So it might be, you might know somebody in town, like the hairdresser that you go to. You might ask them, "Do you mind if my packages come to you? Because for safety reasons, I don't want my packages coming to my house for people knowing where I live." So, you just need, "Hey, baby Hueys, how are you?" All right. So, if you bought something before the strike and it was coming by Canada Post, or you bought from the USPS, and it didn't get to you in time, then it is stuck in the International Postal System. So, if Canada Post packages that are supposed to come to you will be delayed. I'm good, baby Huey. How are you doing? So you are just going to have to wait until after the strike is over. The end. That's it. And if you don't have a Chit Chats or UPS or FedEx near you, you can't do shows because you live in like Resolute Bay, Nunavut. You can still do community chat shows. Take this time not to say, "I'm just not going to do shows." You may not be able to sell right now, but you can still keep the momentum going with your buyers and your community that you've built, that tribe that you're starting to build on Whatnot. Keep it going by doing some fun or informative shows where you don't sell, you just chat, and you do it under community. If you go to End Whatnot and hit community as the category that you pick, then you can do shows, and you can just put in the show notes that because of the postal strike, I'm unable to sell, but I'm going to do an informational show right now, or we're going to just have a fun show, and as soon as the strike is over, I'll be back to selling. That way you don't lose some of your viewers. If you've regularly done shows and people have been used to you having like a Thursday night show, do your Thursday night show, but just don't sell. Talk. For example, if you do women's fashion, why not show off clothes that you're going to have in a future show and talk about the different cuts and like what works best on different bodies, or the care of different fabrics, or show how to get a stain out of something, explain how to accessorize. Like, there's all kinds of things that you can do just in women's fashion alone. I mean, vintage is easy. If you're like, "Good morning, Peacock," if you're like if it like for Stan Pickers, he's got like a cajillion things in his head. So if he wasn't able to sell, he could just probably do like podcasts for the rest of his life. You should actually, Corey. But like, you can teach about what you love. If you're a jewelry seller, teach about the jewelry. Teach about the like. Show how people can identify antique jewelry. Show people how they can figure out whether, I mean, Mimics could do a whole series of like gemstone shows and explaining gemstones. Yeah, promote others, raid those or other shows. Just don't stop. Just because I understand you can't sell, but do not abandon your community during this time. You will keep People will come back to your shows much easier if you continue to do your regular scheduled shows. If you don't have regularly scheduled shows, just schedule a show for, one or two shows during this strike. Keep the momentum going. Don't lose that momentum that you've been building. You've been working hard to build your Whatnot business. Don't let this get in the way of that. Okay. And we're still waiting again for more information about how we can hopefully soon do a batch label in Chit Chats for Whatnot labels. But in the meantime, call your local Chit Chats hub and ask them if they require a batch label, or can you just ship them with any courier company you want, all the shipments you have with Whatnot to the hub. And you can find more information about that and find your local hub, your closest hub, at chitchats.com. Okay, and just a reminder that Canadians are unable to buy Canadian buyers can only buy in Canadian shows right now on Whatnot. We are blocked from buying internationally, and that's because all the stuff comes internationally through the International Postal System, which is Canada Post. So great opportunity if you love to buy and you're missing buying. Come to Canadian shows. And again, Canadians, hello Canadian sellers, like, this is your chance to get those buyers who normally would be in US shows and are looking for other shows to buy in. So, like, do a show because there's people who are missing buying from the States, and so they're looking for shows where they can buy. And if they come in and they don't see any shows in the category that they're looking for, we don't want to lose them from Whatnot Canada, right? We want to have as many shows as possible. So do shows whenever you can, even if they're informational shows. Just do shows. Do shows. Okay, and that's all I have. There we go. Now, why is it over there? Move you over here. There we go. Okay, let me go back to, I'm going to go scroll back up through the chat. Hang on. I just froze. That was lovely. Okay. Okay, got that. Magnus by Marika asks, how do we get to 1,000 solds quickly without losing dollars for everything sold? Any tips for us newer sellers? Okay, so Magnus by Marika, getting to 1,000 sales has its perks. Abso-freaking-lutely. But here is my thoughts on the matter. If you are pushing and grinding to 1,000 sales and sacrificing profit, the return that you're getting of instant sales, of instant payout, I don't think is worth it. In my opinion, I would rather you sell, because what are you going to do after you get to 1,000 sales? You're going to switch back to normal pricing, and then a whole bunch of people who have been used to you selling for cheap are going to be like, wait a second, you used to be cheap, now you're not. I'm only here because you're cheap. Loki, can you shut the front door? No. Yesterday was a fun day, by the way. So my recommendation is just focus on one sale at a time and not 1,000 sales. If you focus on selling, giving good value for money without sacrificing your profits, you will get to 1,000 sales before you know it. If you do, like, there are people who do, like, buy a sticker for $1 and all that kind of stuff, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. But really and truly, just sell the stuff that you like to sell. Do as many shows as you can, as often as you can, for as long as you can each time. The longer your show is, the more you're going to be seen, the more your discoverability is going to go up, the more buyers you're going to get. Do coupons. Don't do discount, like, don't do, instead of $5 start, do a $2 start. No, give a coupon. Because you know what? Coupons translate into more buyers. So coupons, in order for them to, and don't do giveaways, do coupons. Because I think giveaways are great, except for the fact, on special occasions. But on special occasions, do giveaways. But otherwise, give a coupon instead. Because a coupon is guaranteed to be a buy. A giveaway is not a guarantee to a buy. Yes, do some people who win giveaways turn around and then buy stuff from your store? Abso-freaking-lutely. But is it enough to make up what you spent on the shipping and the giveaway item? No. I mean, for US sellers, yeah, go ahead and do all those sticker giveaways and all that kind of stuff if you want to. Knock yourself out. But again, I think a coupon would still be a better investment. I would rather you spend $2 on coupon and got a purchase of like $10 or $20, right? Okay, so, and Stamp Picker says, come check my show later and I can give some tips. I'd say lose a tiny bit of dollars doing dollar starts, ship super fast. And Stamp Picker says, I have so many tips for that. You don't have to lose, just not make as much. Yeah, so if you're not following Stamp Pickers, you all need to. Sandpicker says, if you can get through this crazy time with tariffs, loss of USA buyers, and the Canada Post strike, you're set up for crazy success when back to normal. Yeah, if you can run shows and sell or just keep going during this time, you are you're like bomb proof. If you can get through this, you can get through anything. Stampicker says, should never be in a rush to 1,000. Best is always give more value than what they pay for or time spent. Even if that value is your knowledge, right? If your knowledge, or for like Magnus Fiberica, you make custom magnets, so your value is in your artistry. So that would be what I would focus on, is like is giving that kind of value for money. I think value for money is different for everyone. Again, fair market value is what a person is willing to pay in that moment. And so, that moment can change, and someone might be willing to pay $1,000 tomorrow, but today they're only willing to pay 100. Fair market value moves so much. And so you have to think about the other kinds of value that you can provide to your customer. Great customer service, fun shows, informative shows, that entertainment value is cash in the bank and costs you absolutely nothing. So thinking about how can you make, I call, and a lot of people have said this, I'm not the only one. Whatnot is QVC on steroids. It is addictive. It's fun. It's addictive. It's like you can get so many cool, you can get whatever you want at any time of the day or night. It is entertainment. It is shoppertainment. And so you have to think about not only what you're selling, but what are you bringing to the table when you're selling? Are you interacting? How are you connecting with your audience? Because part of what they're buying is you. So that includes when you ship an item, when you ship out an item, do you just shove it in the poly bag and put the label on and send it out? Or do you take your time to wrap it in some tissue? Like, say you do clothing, do you just put it in the poly bag as is, or do you put some tissue paper on it and a little sticker? You can get stickers for cheap online. A little sticker and then a note, and maybe a business card or something, but a little note. Like, if you create business cards, you can create them for cheap on like Canva and Vistaprint and that. Get some business cards and just make the back of it blank. And then you can write little notes on that business card. Just say, thank you so much for your purchase, happy face, heart, whatever. I usually do hearts. And put that in. Connecting during the show and then after the show is vital, because when that person opens up that package, you want to have them a reminder of how they felt during the show that made them want to buy this thing in the first place. When I open up a package from somebody, I have to admit that if there's not a little bit of their personality inside, I'm like, when did I buy this? Why did I buy this? I don't get reminded of like the excitement of the show or the reason why I hit bid or buy it now, right? So definitely there is a connection that you need to make before, by doing your sharing on social media. Before your show, you should be sharing your show as much as possible on social media, on the Discords, in any communities like the Whatnot Canada Facebook group, sharing your shows as much as possible. Also, that's the before connection, the connection during your show, and then afterwards when you're shipping out, keeping that personality and that vibe into how you ship is really important. I am less likely to buy from someone that didn't have some of their personality, even if it was just a couple of stickers or just a quick thank you note. And seriously, it doesn't have to be, dear Kim, blah diddy blah 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 blah. I mean, I like that too, but it doesn't have to be that. It's even just thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. That's it. That's all you need. The Stamp Picker says, if you open my parcels and don't get a bunch of cool stuff or thank you freebies, I'd kick my own butt. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I don't give away. I used to do coupons because of the rewards club, because most people have watched me enough, like you all. There's very few of you who haven't made egg. Baby Huey just made egg. So like the rewards club gives me the opportunity to give out coupons like water. So I think it's just really vital that the opening of your package is another chance for you to connect with that buyer. Now, when you buy from me, it's going to take you an hour to unwrap each one of your items because everything is cocooned in like layers and layers and layers. But I learned that. So I mean, and sometimes I'll like put jokes. I'll write jokes. When Melody bought a box of stuff, and one of the things was a vintage football, and I had to wrap. I was trying to figure out how to wrap a vintage football. And I was like, I don't really need to protect it, but I don't want to put it in on its own. So I guess I'll wrap it in some paper. So I literally wrote on it, I can't believe I just wrapped up a football. Because everything else I wrote what the thing was so that I made sure that I put the right thing in the right person's box. And with that one, I just wrote, I can't believe I just wrapped up a football. And it made her laugh too. Peacock says, I send Candy my handmade bookmarks and sometimes some extra jewelry. Yeah, and Vintiquity has these really cute bookmarks that she makes out of old books and ephemera and stuff. There's all kinds of things you can do that don't cost a lot of money. If you can't afford business cards, you can always just use your printer. If you have a home printer or even a thermal printer, you can create stuff. Like there's so many options. Oh no, that's why I'm here, Magnus by Marika. Okay, so we do have someone we are going to raid. I had a raid request. So this is your last chance to share your shows and ask your questions, and then we are going to be raiding it. A laminating machine. Yes, I love my laminating machine. I love it a lot. I haven't used it to make bookmarks yet. I have I have the equivalent of a Cricut. I have a Brother Scan and Cut, so I can cut out my own bookmarks in that without having to do it by hand, so that it's nice and crisp and clean. But I haven't used it in a while. I need to set that up. Yes, laminating machine works really great for bookmarks. So you can use like old magazines and stuff and create some bookmarks. You can make some gift tags for people. Like here's some free gift tags. Christmas is coming up. People love gift tags. And Magnus by Marika says, I'm doing shows daily, bookmark and follow, and coupons are coming. Awesome. Yeah. So if you want to create a coupon, if you don't have, even if you have rewards club, create coupons. Do as I say, not as I do. If you go to seller.whatnot.com and go to the side to promotions and marketing, if you click on that, it'll do a drop down menu and coupons is there. You click on coupons and then you can add a coupon. You can decide how much the coupon is worth, and is it going to be in every show in the future? Is it just going to be in one show or two shows? You can do all those determinations. And is there a minimum? Like, do you want to make it $5 off anything $25 or more, or $100 or more? You can do all that. Like, there's total control. And so some people ask, like, I want to give someone a coupon that they can use personally, and I don't want anyone else to use it. So my recommendation for that is you can't really attach a coupon to a single person. But if you make the coupon code something like Peacock Jewelry Coupon, if I called it that and someone else used Peacock Jewelry's coupon, then I would know that Peacock Jewelry gave the coupon away. And then I can just you can turn off coupons. You can turn off the coupon. But if I see Peacock Jewelry's use the coupon, and then I'm worried that, I don't know Peacock Jewelry that well, they might actually ship it, send it to somebody else, because you can just share a coupon code with anyone, right? But, I've never had that problem where somebody's shared coupon codes with other people. But if you are worried about that, you can give someone a coupon code that they can use only, tell them it's for them only. Once they use it, you can go back in and you can edit it and deactivate the coupon. Stamp Picker says, I'm doing a show later to welcome back the stamp category. Yay! But have cards, coins, antiques, and more, and we'll tell you some stories for those who want. Yay! Awesome. All right, so everyone check out Stamp Picker's show today. And Stamp Picker says, thank you to everyone who helped the stamp category come back. I'm very excited about that. I'm so happy for you guys. It's been a long time coming, and hopefully they don't take it away again. Hopefully they've learned their lesson. Okay. Raid. I gotta hold you guys up here. Sassy Mandu is on. Mark, there she is. La Mer. Select. Now we've been here before, but we're gonna go back again and visit her. She's been working her butt off, and has been doing a really great job. And so we're gonna check her out. She's got women's wear. She's doing a shop clearance. We all love fashion. Thank you, Jespian. Love you guys so much. Have an awesome day. I will see you tomorrow morning. I'm not gonna do my show this afternoon if I still have it up. Anyways, I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Love you guys so much. Let's go.